the Delhi Assembly elections. Evidently stung by a series of attacks on the fair-mindedness, to put it politely, of the Election Commission launched by the India Bloc and all the parties therein, Rajiv Kumar was in every mood to leave his detractors without a leg to stand on. And you can see him there, viewers. He was reeling out the facts as if, viewers, he had a point to prove. And he did. Like a well-drilled chemistry professor, the CEC, the Chief Election Commissioner, read out his side of the facts from an impressive PowerPoint presentation. It was blown up. It was on a wall right behind him. It was in camera shot. And just like somebody at a TED lecture who uses a PowerPoint presentation to build his argument, that's what Rajiv Kumar was doing. But before he got down to it, he recited a couplet, a poem, to set the stage for his dissertation. Viewers, before I go to it, let me give you a small backgrounder on why Rajiv Kumar used a highly unprecedented and uncharacteristic approach, strategy, call it what you want to address those who have been asking questions of the Election Commission after pretty much every poll where they lose. Never when they win, but only when they lose. Viewers, there is a concerted attempt, whether we like to admit it or not, by certain people to try and build some sort of narrative to discredit the Election Commission. Because by doing so, viewers, what do? You question the credibility of the electoral process. If you can begin to raise doubts about the credibility of the electoral process, you can also then figuratively and realistically begin to suggest that democracy itself is failing in our country, that we are becoming like Pakistan or like Bangladesh or like the 100 others, viewers out there, who can't hold a legitimate election, who can't give voice to the free and fair expression of the electorate. India is great, viewers, because its people, you, I, many others, from all backgrounds, got an opportunity to hold our government to account. And we got it, viewers, from day one of our freedom. It was not like America, where they were formed on one particular date, but all their citizens, whether it was women or blacks or any other denomination, got their votes much later in time. From 1947, the midnight hour, viewers, of August 15, we were there. Every Indian was given the right to free and fair exercise of his franchise. It was called, therefore, universal franchise, viewers. So people like Rahul Gandhi, they can't, beyond a point, raise questions about India's democracy abroad and in all those lovely places that they are given a platform to rant against Indian democracy, because, viewers, at the end of the day, the electoral process, that process that allows you and I, the citizenry, to hold its leaders to account, is robust. And therefore, viewers, maybe therefore, there has been this concerted attempt. So the Election Commissioner had to come out and make this rebuttal. And he said, and let me quote him, he quoted a couplet and he said, "सब सवाल अहमियत रखते हैं, जवाब तो बनता है, अदातान कलम बंद जवाब देते रहें, आज रूबरू तो बनता है, क्या पता कल हो या ना हो, आज जवाब बनता है." In other words, all questions hold importance, answers must follow out of habit. We kept giving written replies, but today face to face feels necessary. Who knows if tomorrow will come or not? Today, an answer is due. So viewers, first listen in to Rajiv Kumar setting the stage.
सब सवाल अहमियत रखते हैं, जवाब तो बनता है। सब सवाल अहमियत रखते हैं, जवाब तो बनता है। आदतन कलम बंद जवाब देते रहे, आज रूबरू भी बनता है। क्या पता कल हम हो ना हो, आज जवाब तो बनता है। आज जवाब तो बनता है। 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 हर जगह में डिफरेंट पार्टीज आर कमिंग टू आर गेटिंग मैक्सिमम सीट्स. This is one reflection how fair, how deep rooted the fairness of the Indian elections are. The Indian voter is extremely aware, conscious, he understands everything. तो वही जवाब देता है। शिकायत भले ही उनकी मजबूरी हो, मगर सुनना, सहना, सुलझाना हमारी आदत तो है।
And in a flawless dissertation that it turned out to be, Rajiv Kumar addressed the 5 main allegations against the poll body. The first charge, that electoral rolls are being manipulated to favor the BJP. The Chief Election Commissioner's response, viewers, again, he held up data, he pointed to his PowerPoint presentation and he said, no deletion without Form 7 claims and objections shared with parties, and he, viewers, put out the process that is followed. In elections that are won by the opposition and lost by the opposition, showing that there was no difference in the process. Not an iota of variation. So how is it that with the same process, the opposition questions one set of results but keeps quiet on another? It's a very logical question, viewers. The other charge, voter tally differences indicate compromised EVMs. So the Election Commission says not one difference in 4.5 crore, yes viewers, 4.5 crore VVPAT slips counted in multiple elections. The whole population, viewers, of UK is 6 crores. Here 4.5 crore VVPATs were tallied with the EVM machines. And in none of them, not one, viewers, in multiple elections was there a variation from what the EVM showed. This tells you, viewers, that the accuracy is unquestionable. The other charge that is made, that security of EVMs is compromised. The EC's response was straightforward. Battery checks, sealing, serial checks and mock polls are all done in the front of polling agents. The polling agents of all political parties, of all stakeholders, of all participants. Now viewers, is it possible for so many people at one time to be fooled? There is something illogical, therefore, viewers, about what the opposition says. They take advantage of the fact that people like you and I may not know the exacting procedures, the exactitude with which votes are counted in this country. There's another charge, drastic change in turnouts in final stats and voting day EC. Response was very straight. Gap is procedural, impossible to tell voter turnout at 6 p.m. Now think about it, viewers. The opposition says, tell us at 6 p.m. how many people have actually voted. Now, viewers, there are polling stations, as you know, in far-flung areas. And unless they are connected through internet, which then, of course, everyone will say, oh, you see, that's a medium for hacking. It's impossible to know how many votes have been counted or have been posted at exactly 6 p.m. when polls close, because polling continues for a few hours after. It's impossible. And all those people who are lined up at the booth at 6 p.m., should they be told, okay, now go home? No, viewers. Nowhere in the world does that happen. So obviously, the turnout figure is updated by 8 in the evening, 9, sometimes midnight, sometimes the next day, depending on how far-flung the polling station is. This is very important. The other question that is raised and asked of the EC, that is change rules on CCTVs to remove transparency. The EC has responded by saying no public access to CCTV to protect privacy of voters and prevent footage from being used for machine learning models. So you know what, viewers, the opposition says, show us all the CCTV footage also. Now, viewers, you'll begin to identify voters and you will know from where they have come. And you will know then, viewers, by triangulation and correlation, who they perhaps voted for. And then guess what you will do? You will land up at that person's home and you will say, why didn't you vote for me? And the next time you don't vote for me, you will have to face and suffer the consequences. Our vote is our secret. No one can ask you who to vote for and who you voted for. Viewers, the point-by-point rebuttal was also burnished by a quick summary of all the Supreme Court verdicts that have gone in the Election Commission's favour over the years on the back of repeated challenges mounted by the proverbial doubting Thomases in the various opposition parties. But perhaps the one riposte by the CEC that sticks out for its logical simplicity is a chart that he produced, that Mr. Kumar produced at the very end. In this chart, the CEC brought up the results of one whole cycle of 30 state and UT elections since 2020 to 2024 end to show how 15 different parties had won the elections in different states and union territories. For instance, in 2020, Delhi and Bihar were won by the AAP. And viewers, the RJD. The BJP didn't figure anywhere. In 2021, in 5 states and UTs, BJP won only Assam, whereas the TMC, DMK, AINRC and CPM won Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, Kerala, respectively. In 2022, out of the 7 states that saw polling, 2 were won by the Congress and AAP. In the 9 states in 2023, the BJP only won 4, which is less than half. And in 2024, when elections were held in 8 states and union territories, the BJP won 4 or only half. The presentation clearly makes it difficult for the opposition to cry foul, but it also raises some questions. And these are the questions, viewers, that need to be posed today. Is the India bloc guilty of slandering the EC baselessly? Is there an attempt to incite the public and cause large-scale social unrest by shaking the faith of the public in the power of the vote? How is it that 4.5 crore VVPATs have never thrown up an anomaly in all these years if the EVMs are compromised? Have the parties like the Congress been blaming the EVMs to cover up the inadequacies of their leaders like Rahul Gandhi, who can't win them an election? Is there a foreign hand that is instigating the India bloc to call the EC's integrity into question to spark social unrest in Bharat and derail its growth trajectory? Viewers, I don't know the responses, but these questions need to be asked, and let me pose them tonight to our panelists. And viewers, let's have a healthy debate, an open one, just as open and transparent as the CEC has been. So I want to begin first with Mr. Pradeep Bhati of the Samajwadi Party. I want to come to you, Mr. Bhati, and this is a simple and straightforward question. 4.5 crore VVPAT slips have been counted. This is data that has been submitted now by the Chief Election Commissioner. And not one is thrown up in inadequacy. How do you explain this, sir, if the EVMs are all manipulated?
Thank you and good evening. I heard you for approximately 10 minutes and your whole submission was on one side. So please give me a couple of minutes to counter whatever you have said. The first question about the 4 crore VVPAT match in multiple election. You know, only election of 2024 Lok Sabha number of voters is 97 crores of one election, and you are talking about 4 crore in multiple elections. Second thing, talking about illogical, we being in a position, we are guilty of a lot of allegations you have put. I may ask you, is Prime Minister Modi is guilty what he has said in 2013 and 14, calling EC biased and partial? He is also guilty of the same thing what you are accusing us today. Mr. Advani is also guilty of same guilt said that he has done from 2009 to 2013 Even VVPAT was introduced at that time also. He was saying the same thing in the initial 2013 and 14 also. I have complete his all the information. It is available on in the newspaper and internet. I can read one-on-one basis and calling election commission being biased. This EVM machine should be scrapped off, and
Okay.
the ballot paper should be introduced.
Okay.
With that also, EC is trying to convince BJP not bother about the democracy and the opposition parties, which is approximately in the last Lok Sabha election itself, you see
Right.
2.5% approximately vote we got less than BJP, only 2.5 percent approximately, if you compare the India bloc and BJP. And my leader, Honorable Akhilesh Yadav ji, has categorically stated that मैं ईवीएम जीत कर ईवीएम हटाऊंगा, मैं सारी की सारी भी सीटें जीत जाऊं. So don't give us this logic that we won in 2024 Lok Sabha election, so we are going to bend down that. मैं सारी की सारी सीट जीत के भी जीत जाऊंगा, तो भी मैं ईवीएम पे भरोसा नहीं करता. So this we are.
तो फिर
it
इलेक्शन
is
में वो
the duty of
पार्टिसिपेट
the
ही क्यों करते हैं?
institution.
But one
It
second,
is the
Mr. Bhatti,
duty of
can
the
I ask you a
institution.
counter question?
Please.
The Samajwadi Party wins 37 Lok Sabha seats in 2024. Do the math, viewers. Even if you believe that in every Lok Sabha seat there are about 6 assembly, roughly. Do the math. 37 into 6. Even if you believe that they won 4 in each, just do the maths. That's about 160 seats they would have won in an Uttar Pradesh election had it been held across these 37 seats, viewers. Now, what kind of strange Modi is this, who says, actually, let me lose these 37 seats plus another 6 to the Congress. That means I will be down 37 plus 6, viewers, about 43 seats, which is pretty much what he wanted to get a majority, so that I can be then blackmailed by my alliance partners. I can be called a weak prime minister. I can then also be voted out of power because people will begin to say that Modi to khatam ho gaya, that Modi is finished. He must be either, sir, very magnanimous, or, sir, you are absolutely misleading the public again. I cannot understand. How can it be that an election is won in Karnataka by the Congress party, in Telangana by the Congress party, in the same cycle, and you question the integrity of the EVMs? There must be something wrong.
As I said, my honorable leader said, मैं सारी की सारी सीट भी जीत जाऊं, तो भी मैं ईवीएम पे भरोसा नहीं करता हूं.
अच्छा.
It is the duty. I
तो किस
have
पे
to
भरोसा करते हैं वो? Who does he believe in?
on ballot papers,
On ballot papers.
right? And the
On ballot
institution.
papers.
It is the duty of the institution, which is supposed to be considered an autonomous body.
So, viewers,
should take the
listen to
complaint
this.
seriously.
He
I'll give
believes
you
in
example.
ballot
I'll give
papers.
you example, Rahul.
No,
if you
one
give me
second. One second,
seconds.
Mr. हो गया, Mr. One
नहीं,
second.
just one or two example, just to in
Oh
the
my
support
God,
of
Rahul,
what
this
I am
can't be a
saying is.
monologue by the Samajwadi Party.
No, let him exhaust
It is
his
the-
let him
it
exhaust
is-
his mental faculties. It's okay. Go ahead.
No. See, it will be. It was. I'll give you with an example. In 2022 assembly polls,
Yeah.
the PDA voters, thousands of voters, the names were striked off. The EC sent us notice when we said that this was done. They sent us notice. We sent 18,000 plus affidavits. And from that day, 2022 till date, the election commission is mum, is silent.
18,000
It's
viewers.
not biased. They are not
18,000.
biased.
Just
That's what
remember,
you mean to say.
18,000
What action
in
they have
a
taken
state.
from last
No,
two
in
and
a
a half
state
years?
that has.
My straight
Okay,
question
one
to
second.
the
In a
election
state.
commission.
Okay, sir. In a state which has about 20-25 crore voters, 18,000 is the number that they are getting
We
agitated
have
about.
given. We
And they are
have
saying that
given.
18,000
We
people
have
got
given.
disenfranchised. Now, there is also something called an electoral roll correction and updation, viewers. And let me confess to you that even I am out of it because I didn't exercise my franchise for 4 elections and I moved to Bombay. And I also responded and they said, when you move back to Delhi, please reapply. It's a different matter that I don't vote for other reasons, but that's a completely different story there. But 18,000 is their quibble, viewers. Can you believe it? This is the basis on which this entire
gave you an example,
argument is
Rahul.
being built, and they say bring
You are
back
giving
postal
4
ballots. And
crore.
let me tell you, viewers,
You are
that there
saying
have been
4 crore
people from the
to
Congress party caught
when 97
looting
crore
and
is the
fixing.
total
RJD
voter.
caught looting and fixing. Stuffing ballot papers, fake ones. And I can give you the whole example, and I have a whole bunch of graphics and hard facts to show you. That's what they want to go back to. Anyhow, Sanju Verma, quick response, and I want to open this up.
You know, Rahul,
Your
please don't say this
leaders,
quick
Mr.
response.
Bhatti says, and I remember one cephalogist from your ranks, GVL Narasimha Rao, said that the EVMs are compromised, that the process is, he wrote a book also. So how do you explain
You
this?
know, Rahul, first and foremost, it's been 20 minutes. And for 10 minutes, I heard the Samajwadi Party speak. You were generous enough to allow him to exhaust his mental faculties. Please also allow Sanju Verma to exhaust her mental faculties. I hope you'll be generous to me as well.
Yes, ma'am.
I won't take too much of your time. You know, so first and foremost, let me start by quoting what Rajiv Kumar said. I think these lines capture the essence of what he was trying to convey to the opposition, to the ruling dispensation, and to just about everybody out there. करना सके इकरार तो कोई बात नहीं, करना सके इकरार तो कोई बात नहीं, मेरी वफा का उनको एतबार तो है, मेरी वफा का उनको एतबार तो है, शिकायत भले ही उनकी मजबूरी हो, शिकायत भले ही उनकी मजबूरी हो, मगर सुनना सहना सुलझाना, मगर सुनना सहना सुलझाना हमारी आदत है. Basically, what he's saying that all the stakeholders are aware of the hard facts. They are aware of the hard truth, but they choose to deny it. I'm reminded of the 17th century lines by Samuel Butler, where he said, "A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still." That is basically what Rajiv Kumar was saying. But now moving beyond semantics and poetry and, shero shairi, I just have this to say. The first time on a pilot basis, EVMs were used was way back in 1998. The BJP lost all the 3 elections, Delhi, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. All the 3 elections were won by the Congress party. The first time EVMs were used on a large scale in a general election was 2004. The BJP lost, the Congress-led UPA came to power. The second time EVMs were used on a large scale was 2009. Again, the Congress-led UPA romped home to power, the BJP lost. But the BJP has never said EVMs are faulty. Point number 1. Point number 2, look at the scale of the election process. Lok Sabha 2024, 64.2 crore voters participated, including 31.2 crore women. 64.2 crore voters means this is equal to the population of United Kingdom, United States of America, Australia, Spain, Italy, France, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, and Switzerland.
Right.
Point number 1. Point number 2, 68,000 monitoring teams, 1.5 crore police personnel, 11.5 lakh polling stations, 135 special trains, 1,700 special flight sorties. This is what it took by way of infrastructure to conduct the world's largest elections. And what your audience needs to know, that only 39 repolls were held in 2024. And in 2019 Lok Sabha also, there were only 510 repolls that were held. This time only 39 repolls. That is the beauty of Indian democracy and the manner in which elections were conducted seamlessly by Rajiv
But
Kumar.
Ms. Verma,
kudos to him. I applaud him.
But Ms. Verma,
Point,
don't
please.
exhaust
Please,
now.
my
Don't
last
exhaust
point.
Bhati Saab's patience.
Rahul,
I want to ask you
Rahul,
about
Rahul.
GVL Narasimha Rao and LK Advani when they raised red flags over EVMs. Why did they do so?
I
Can you
heard
give
you.
me an answer?
Can I finish?
Of
It's
course,
barely
ma'am.
been 3 minutes. Yeah, why do you get so rattled when Sanju Verma is talking, Rahul? Thank you. You're a sane anchor, a very reputed anchor. Okay. You know what GVL Narasimha Rao said or what he wrote? I'm not going to endorse that. He himself has said that I do not any longer believe in what I said. And I think every person has the right to change his or her opinion. And he has been gracious enough to admit that that book was a lot of balderdash. Point number one. Point number two, let's focus on Rajiv Kumar very quickly. Three things. Form 6 is what you need to fill if you want to get registered. Form 7 is what is needed to be filled if there has to be a voter deletion.
Sure.
Form 17C records voter turnout. So please pray tell me, with Form 6, Form 7, Form 17C and double randomization being there, how can there be rigging of elections? 20 seconds. What is double randomization? In the first stage,
Yes, ma'am.
EVMs are randomly allotted to different assembly constituencies.
Okay.
And in the second stage, they are randomly allotted to different polling booths
Okay.
in the presence of the returning officer.
Okay.
And all the
Viewers, we know the
concerned
process.
candidates.
We know the process. Sanju Verma has been gracious enough to tell us that the BJP has accepted that what its previous or whatever spokesperson had said was balderdash, and that he himself has been humble enough to go out there and say, no, I stand corrected. So I hope that part of the argument now, viewers, is dropped. But Dr. Ranganathan, I have to ask you this question because somewhere I believe that this persistence on the part of the opposition, is this an attempt either to obfuscate or to build on their own thesis that India's democracy has now, become so weakened by institutional sabotage, internal sabotage, that India can no longer be called a democracy? Is that the objective? Or is it simply this, that they need an excuse to save face, and especially the face of their leaders, the Gandhis and company?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. I think, in short, it's a bit of both, really. But let me address this entire issue with a couple of points. Number one, I have seen a lot in debates, a lot of illogic and irrationality, but today even I am absolutely stumped by the statement purportedly made by Akhilesh Yadav ji that मैं EVMs के through ही जीतूंगा और जीतने के बाद EVMs को हटाऊंगा. It's like saying I have formed a party and I am going to win elections by supporting and financing my elections through black money that I will get, and after I win, I will take steps to remove black money. ये कैसा logic है? The world over, the clear rationality would suggest that if you don't believe in a system, if you believe that system is corrupt and faulty, then don't use that system. That's the first thing a rational, logical man would do. यहाँ पे आप पार्टी बनाएंगे ब्लैक मनी लेके, जीतने के बाद कहेंगे कि हम ब्लैक मनी को हटाएंगे. बहरहाल ये पॉलिटिशियंस हैं, कहते रहते हैं, तो इनका कोई I don't take their views much seriously. But I am a free speech absolutist, but I hate to say this. The absolutism of free speech excludes defamation on the account of somebody alleging that you are corrupt and you are pliable and that you have taken money and that your institution is completely compromised. So I think the time has come for this country, the Election Commission or the Supreme Court, to stand up once and for all and say, if you are making any allegations against this temple of democracy that is run through these EVMs, where more than the population or the same population of South Korea, VVPATs have been tested, not a single discrepancy has been found. So if you are wrong, we are going to file a civil defamation, or I don't believe in criminal defamation, but at least a civil defamation suit has to be filed. Because time and again, every single day, these people are throwing stones, pelting stones, there's no other way to say it, pelting stones at the temple of democracy. They win through the same system and they allege the same system is wrong. The same system will be corrected. They will go back to paper ballot stuffing and the compromise elections that we as children grew up watching. So I am for civil defamation. The Supreme Court has to come in. It has to step in and say, stop this nonsense right now. Finally, 30 seconds. As far as some of the India Alliance members now correcting what wrongs that they have committed, I'm afraid it is still folk tongue. You saw Omar Abdullah saying that we must believe in EVMs, and I don't believe in Rahul Gandhi and Congress always alleging that EVMs are corrupt. But 6 months before that, his own father was alleging EVMs are corrupt. It's a system of thievery, he said. So I don't believe in any of these politicians. What I still believe in a limited way, at least in the Supreme Court, it has to come out and punish those in a civil manner. I mean, civil defamation, all
Doctor,
who allege.
Doctor, you said that the Supreme Court must stand up. You actually said must stand up. You need to have a particular bone in your body to allow you to stand up. Now, I want to ask you, and I don't know if you know this, how many suo moto cases has the Supreme Court taken up in the last 3 decades?
Yes.
You know, viewers, just about over 50. And there are varying numbers on this. So some people put it at very generously at 66, some people say 52. So viewers, forget the Supreme Court. I think the EC really needs to next either go against these political parties and say, listen, if you don't have the proof, you can't contest an election. Clearly you don't have faith in us, so please, out you go. Or viewers, they should file cases against these individuals, because that's really what needs to be done. Now, viewers, I'm not just going to get fixated, and I have Tehseen Poonawala here and Akashdeep Muni, and I want to engage with the second part of this debate. And it's an important question, viewers, because today the Delhi election dates were, as I told you, put out by the Election Commission. Now, Delhi may be small, but it is very prestigious. It is the capital contest of all state elections. And you can bet on it that it hurts the BJP to know that it hasn't been given the opportunity by the people of Delhi for more than 2 decades, at least at the state level. On the other hand, it gives AAP bragging rights much beyond its size by winning the nation's capital. But at what cost will AAP retain its bastion of Delhi if it ends up winning the election on February 8th, viewers? Will the Congress and the AAP, the Gandhis and Kejriwal, ever be able to share a platform together after they have abused each other? Both the AAP and Congress have gone to town calling out each other over corruption. Now, viewers, if allies are calling out each other over corruption, they must know something. So much so, there's very little left for the BJP now to say. And even if the Congress and AAP do share a platform, will the voters take the India bloc seriously after this? Akhilesh Yadav doesn't seem to think so. He's calling upon both parties to respect coalition dharma before they so compromise the India bloc's credentials in the eyes of the public that it stops being a legitimate alternative to the BJP. But despite the sage advice, even the Samajwadi Party, viewers, has picked sides by supporting the AAP in Delhi, not the Congress, the AAP. So in UP, Akhilesh and Rahul Gandhi are on the same cycle. In Delhi, they give up the Atlas cycle and they get on to the Aam Aadmi cycle, viewers. Given the Delhi election, more than any other has exposed the opportunism of the India bloc and hollowness of its claims of being a credible alternative to the BJP, can now, viewers, this bloc, after this election is over, come back to all of us and say, no, actually we are the best alternative to the BJP today. The BJP is full of corrupt people. The BJP is against all sorts of other constitutional conventions. But we are okay. Delhi might be the first fight of 2025 and the AAP may yet return to power, but it will be a verdict on the India bloc, viewers. That's the fundamental question. Let me quickly go across, straight off, to Dr. Akashdeep Muni. We also have with us Tehseen Poonawala. Both are there. Now, Akashdeep Muni, the Congress says you're corrupt. The BJP says you're corrupt. Two political parties are saying you're corrupt. You must be corrupt.
Now, Rahul, first of all, good evening and thank you for having me on your show. This is election and their opponents of Aam Aadmi Party, of course, they will be hurling allegations. But the moot point is that while the Bharatiya Janata Party and Congress are doing the politics of Gali, It is only Aam Aadmi Party who is doing the politics of work. I was
one
speaking.
second. वो मैं समझता हूँ. I watch all the advertisements that have been put out by the app. I also read their tweets. They've done a lot, I'm sure, in their minds, on the job. I'm not getting into that. I'm only asking you because you see, you were the original anti-corruption crusaders. I think I remember that. Maybe you have forgotten, but let me remind you, sir, that there was a gentleman called Anna Hazare. On his left would be Kiran Bedi, on his right would be Mr. Kejriwal. Both were the apostles of the anti-corruption movement. Anna Hazare was the god of the anti-corruption movement. They were Saint Peter and Mary. And they went out there, viewers, and they told us that everybody else is corrupt. Now, those partners of theirs, the Congress party with which they contested the election in the Lok Sabha, now Dr. Muni, are saying that you are corrupt, that those who shout the loudest have the most to hide. Now, I can understand the BJP saying it, but if the Congress begins to say it, if people who leave your party also other sanctimonious, holy of holies like the famous lawyer, I forget his name now, I'm very bad with names, so I don't want to have one of those moments where I'll be trolled. But there was another gentleman called Yogendra Yadav, Prashant Bhushan, I'm told. Now, Prashant Bhushan is spreading this pollution that you are corrupt. When he left, that's what he said. You are corrupt. That Mr. Kejriwal was compromised, that he has withdrawn from the one promise he made, which was to make all his electoral funds public. You even withdrew that. So he said there's something wrong in the kingdom of Denmark. So please tell me, is Hamlet to be or not to be, sir? That is the fundamental question. Is he corrupt or not? ये मुझे बता दो.
To be or not to be should be asked to Delhi BJP leaders who weren't able to manage a teleprompter. Anyway, coming on your moot point about Congress. Now, Congress's Sandeep Dixit should have been much more worried about, and he should have filed FIRs against Mr. Biduri. But interestingly, he started filing FIRs against Mr. Kejriwal. So he was. It is not understandable that on which plank he is fielding. Is he fielding for Bharatiya Janata Party?
Sir,
Couple of points.
This is nonsense.
No. See, viewers, look at them fumbling today. They are really fumbling. So they will come to you and they will say, 1 minute, ma'am, 1 minute. They are the original non-corrupt party. And Tehseen Poonawala's party says that they are corrupt. So Tehseen Poonawala, either you're lying or they are corrupt. Which one is it really? I'm very confused.
Thank you, Rahul. Gracious of you to get me into the debate 35 minutes into the show.
Sorry, I apologize.
No,
Please
that's
don't flog me.
No, that's not wrong. I'm not the BJP. Come on, but come on.
Let
but let me come to the point at hand. Look, I do agree with a larger point that दुश्मनी जमकर करो, पर इतनी कम से कम इतनी गुंजाइश रह जाए कि कल अगर हम दोस्त हो तो एक दूसरे से हम मुंह न फेरे. But I'll tell you where this went wrong. When I joined you in Haryana, the Aam Aadmi Party affected the Congress in 5 seats in Haryana. This is directly. Gujarat, they affected the Congress. Goa, they affected the Congress. Nobody told the Aam Aadmi parties, the B team of BJP, they are helping the BJP. They should be thrown out of the India alliance. In fact, let me tell you something on your show that I've never told you before. One of the Aam Aadmi party leaders, who's now no longer in the party, when the late Ahmed Patel was alive, I took them to Ahmed Patel to stitch up an alliance. This is me. Yeah, this is true. Now, today, when you turn up and you say 24 hours or we'll kick Congress out, Congress is the B team of BJP. You're taking money. What do you expect the Congress to do? To sit with its hands tied behind? We know what happens when NGOs take over. Just look at Bangladesh. Point number 2.
NGOs.
Look, today, yeah, I mean, it seems like an NGO battle out here with the way the Aam Aadmi Party is going. Should the Congress now reduce itself to be an NGO? Of course they're going to fight. If the Aam Aadmi Party has a legitimate right to grow in Haryana or Gujarat or in Goa or anywhere else, why should the Congress not have a legitimate right to revive its cadre, its vote back in Delhi? A city it governed, a state it governed for 15 odd years. The same vote has been taken by Aam Aadmi Party. They don't have the traditional BJP vote. BJP vote has only increased. It is the Congress vote they've taken. Point number 2. Look at Arvind Kejriwal ji. When you went through Anna Hazare ji came into politics, the allegations he made on Sheila Dikshit ji, he would file RTIs on the food Sheila Dikshit's dogs ate. RTIs on that. This is a fact. How many ACs are there in a bathroom? Today, if Sandeep Dikshit is hitting back at Arvind Kejriwal, not because of that house is a government property, but using the same yardstick, you can't say, hame gali de rahe. Which FIR did Sandeep Dikshit file? Now, Akashdeep on your show saying Sandeep Dikshit filed an FIR. What FIR did Sandeep Dikshit file? Don't say this. Just answer 3 questions and I will end my submissions. Did you give the 1,000 rupees to the women in Punjab? Let's assume there is problems in Delhi. Second, how will Arvind Kejriwal ji become chief minister if Aam Aadmi Party is to win because Supreme Court restrictions still remain? And if you all are so respecting of women, then why is Atishi ji a temporary chief minister? Why can't Atishi ji be the face of the Delhi Aam Aadmi Party? You are the ones who are letting everybody down. And then you come and find faults with everybody else.
Hypocrites.
Let me respond, Rahul ji. Let me respond to the 3 pertinent questions raised by my fellow colleague.
Yeah.
First, why Atishi cannot be the chief minister? Atishi ji very well can be the chief minister, but the vote are asked on the name of Arvind Kejriwal and Kejriwal's vision and Kejriwal's work. So, if his vision and people are voting on his name, he will.
But sir, the BJP asks votes in the name of Modi, but makes somebody else the chief minister of those states. So what's the difference? I mean, I can't understand the logic there.
Also, Kejriwal ji has restrictions from
The
Supreme
votes
Court.
are asked on the name of Arvind Kejriwal. The vision is Arvind Kejriwal. People trust Arvind Kejriwal.
So, the execution can be done by somebody else.
Arvind Kejriwal. He does so much in education and healthcare.
Sir,
That
Tata,
was not done.
the late Tata ji, the late Mr. Tata, it was his vision, but he wasn't the managing and regional branch manager of every Tata company, was he?
Work that was done during Arvind Kejriwal ji in healthcare and education, was it done during Sheila
Okay,
Dikshit ji?
1,000 rupees. Why didn't you give 1,000 rupees to the women of Punjab till now? 3.5 years have passed.
In Punjab,
Huh?
and let the voters decide.
Oh.
Let Punjab give.
So let Punjab go to hell. Let them decide after 5 years whether we should have or should not have. Okay. ठीक है, sir. I mean, if that is your attitude, then why should we believe that 2,100 rupees will also come to every woman anyhow? BJP is itching to get into this. BJP get in. Yes, and I want to bring in Dr. Ranganathan right after. Mr. Bhati is also licking his lips there. He also wants to get in. Yeah.
Okay. Rahul, I think it's very tough for somebody to digest your cutting-edge sarcasm. I don't think every panelist gets it. But as far as Tehseen goes, he tried taking a sly one against me, but I let it pass. I just want your audience to know this. In the Delhi Lok Sabha 2024 elections, the BJP with a vote share of 54.35% had total votes of 48.44 lakhs in its favor. The Aam Aadmi Party with a 24.17% vote share had 21.54 lakh votes in its favor, and the Congress was nowhere in the race. With 18.91% vote share, it had only 16.85 lakh votes in its favor. So the first point I'm making is that the BJP has mastered the art of translating vote share into winnable votes.
Okay.
And this time, after that drought of 27 years, the BJP is all set to form the next government in Delhi. But most importantly, my final point is this. यहाँ बैठकर जो लोग कहते हैं BJP does the politics of gali galoch. There is a man called Arvind Kejriwal who said Narendra Modi is a coward and a psychopath. He has still not deleted that tweet. तो यहाँ बैठकर BJP को नैतिकता का सर्टिफिकेट बांटना बंद करिए. Please shut up. I did not heckle
1
you.
second.
I did not heckle you. My final point, Rahul. I have been on a zillion debates after the Ramesh Bidhuri rant, and I said unequivocally, I don't care. I don't support this kind of misogyny and sexism.
Well done.
I have the guts as the national spokesperson to condemn Ramesh Bidhuri.
Well done.
Why
I
is he
actually
in the party?
don't have the guts
Why?
to condemn
Throw him out of the party.
Kumar, who
Throw him out of the
said
party. Why is he candidate?
Well, sir, did you throw out any of the leaders who attacked Swati Maliwal ji? आपने कुछ किया? Anyhow, 1 second. Dr. Ranganathan, let me bring you in. You see, I don't want to get into this battle of giving... No, 1 second. Giving and taking certificates on who is actually the more abusive of the two. I don't want to get into that battle. It's actually pointless, viewers. Let's talk about the main issues here, corruption. Dr. Ranganathan, you see, I wasn't being hypothetical about the Congress. The liquor scam investigation. Who kick-started it? Can you please tell our audience?
Yes, it was the Congress, and we must thank them. Yes.
It was the Congress. Now, Dr. Ranganathan, if the AAP, which is supposed to be the only party in India that fights corruption, if both the BJP and the Congress being its closest ally, they fought the election in the Lok Sabha together, 3 and 4 seats equally they shared. If that now is also calling it out, being corrupt, and goes to court and files those affidavits to have investigations into Mr. Kejriwal, who am I supposed to believe? Chalo, I won't believe the BJP. They are obviously in opposition to them. But what about the pal, the best friend? And if they are saying it, then what does the voter do?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what the voter does, but because you can't vote, I think, I'm sorry, I think that news is, no. But look, we are talking of corruption. And my good friend Dr. Muni just said that Kejriwal's vision is going to win him the elections. Can I just say, for someone who is like Kejriwal, who is blind to corruption, how can that man have vision? Unless he has more than 2 eyes and I can't see the other 2 eyes where they are placed on his body. ये कैसा विजन है भाई? जब इतना करप्शन करके 10 साल बाद आप कह रहे हो कि हमारा विजन हमें जिताएगा. I want to give one example because so many scams, so many inactions of Kejriwal over the last 10 years have been recounted. But one somehow missed the eyes of the people. I want to talk about that. Now, Rahul, we just talked about defamation. I want to take an example and analogy out here. You, as an employee of CNN News 18, you personally accuse me of being corrupt and being, in the words of Kejriwal, dalal, right? You accuse me. I sue you, right? Now the matter ends up in court. You hire a lawyer. Simple question. Will that fee of that lawyer be paid? Should that be paid by you or by CNN? Simple question.
Yeah. No, obviously. Obviously. I understand where you're going with this. Yes.
And this is what has escaped because all those planned YouTuber podcasts that Kejriwal is doing, there is no counter questioning. That is why he's not agreed to being questioned by you. Kejriwal says the Delhi state has an obligation to defend me, and Delhi's taxpayers, thousands, tens of crores is to be spent on hiring these lawyers. I want to ask, on what basis is our taxpayers' money being used? Dr. Mani, please answer this. Muni, please answer this. Your money, my money, is being used to hire lawyers to defend Kejriwal when it is not the Delhi state government that has in the court. It is Kejriwal's personal capacity. किसी को उसने दलाल कह दिया, अरुण जेटली के अगेंस्ट केस लड़े, नितिन गडकरी के अगेंस्ट केस लड़े, लॉयर की फीस हम क्यों दे रहे हैं? प्लीज आंसर दिस.
रंगनाथन जी, मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं कि जब ऑनरेबल होम मिनिस्टर ऑफ गुजरात, जब हमारे होम मिनिस्टर थे, गुजरात के होम मिनिस्टर, तब उनके अगेंस्ट में जब केसेस थे, तब भी सरकार का पैसा लग रहा था उनके वकीलों में. और मैं आज पूछना चाहता हूँ, आज की बात, मैं पास्ट की बात नहीं करूंगा, आज की बात नहीं करूंगा, आज की बात नहीं करूंगा कि परवेश वर्मा आज एमपी नहीं है, फिर भी वो सरकारी फ्लैट में रह रहे 4 महीने से. इसका पैसा आप और मैं टैक्सपेयर को भर के दे रहे हैं. क्यों?
1 second, let's not shout over each other, please. No shouting.
सरकारी फ्लैट.
Okay, let's not shout over each other. You can rebut. Yes.
चीफ मिनिस्टर.
No, 1 second, please don't speak over him. Miss Verma, please don't speak over him. You can come into it. Don't worry. Give 30 seconds. I'll give you 30 seconds. Yes.
I will be replying to you again that today the taxpayers' money is put on the houses of a person called Parvesh Verma, who is distributing cash from his home.
Okay, can I ask you a question, Mr. Muni? Can I ask you a question? 1 minute. Can I ask you a counter question? Can you confirm, Dr. Muni, if Mr. Kejriwal at one point said, just 1 second, did Mr. Kejriwal ever say that if there are cases filed against corrupt people, they should not seek representation with public money? Did he say this or not?
There's a video of that. Ab kya karenge?
Now, Rahul ji, I just want to ask you one thing.
No, I only want to ask you कि he said कि बड़े expensive lawyers को politicians जो नहीं 1 minute जो corruption के शिकंजे में है Dr. Muni देखिए listen there are no 1 second Dr. Muni I'm asking you a simple question
सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाए कहते वो लड़े जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट खुद बोल रहा है कि सीबीआई और ईडी मिले हुए सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट
okay now 1 second viewers see this is a problem and I want to bring in Mr. Mani and Mr. Tehseen Puna
I want to explain to your viewers one
yeah
point, just one
okay
point.
come in
Look, Rahul,
Rahul, can I
Anand
please
is
come
right.
in?
Shanju, just
Yeah,
30 seconds.
just
please.
लेने का हक
Dr. Anand Ranganathan is right here. When they talk about cases against say Amit Shahji or anybody else, these are the state. So the state is duty bound to defend. In this particular case, so if there's a case against Arvind Kejriwal ji as chief minister, when he's making personal defamatory comments, Anand is right on the thing. You cannot then have the state defending you for defamation. That's two separate issues. And then not only do you hire these expensive lawyers, you go and say sorry and waste the taxpayers' money उसमें भी. तो क्यों कर रहे हो भाई?
Yes, Miss
40
Verma.
लाख एक hearing का होता है 40 लाख मेरे भाई. वो टॉयलेट है ना कमोड.
Miss Verma.
उसका जो कमोड 40 लाख.
Coming to you, Mr. Bhatt. Yes, Miss Verma, please. Yeah.
Thank you. Rahul, very quickly, I just want to say this because you said let's not forget that corruption is the main issue which is knocking on the doors of the Kejriwal dispensation. I want to tell you one thing. I've worked in the corporate sector for decades. If you're inflating your taxi bills or you're traveling by economy but you charge the company for business class, I have seen people lose their jobs.
Yes,
what exactly was Kejriwal doing? He spent 19.2 crores for the camp office. He spent 16.54 crores for the staff quarters, and he then diverted that expense to something like 7 non-existent servant quarters. This is about diversion of funds. This is about inflating bills and allotting expenses to non-existent vendors, non-existent suppliers, non-existent consultants. My last point, and your audience needs to hear this. Do you know of a man, a very famous man? He's also from IIT, IIM. A man called Ashneer Grover. He founded a firm called Bharat Pay. He was ousted from the very firm he founded because of inflating bills and allotting expenses to non-existent vendors.
All of these issues have been captured in CNAG reports that have not been submitted. So I want to bring Mr. Bhatti into this conversation. Mr. Bhatti, I can't understand this. You are now supporting the AAP that is being accused by your best friend, the Congress party, of corruption. How does this work, Mr. Bhatti?
It's Bhatti, not Bhatti.
Okay, Mr. Bhatti. Sorry about that. Mr. Bhatti, can I ask you this question again?
Yeah. No.
Maybe you didn't hear it.
I've heard you.
So I want to ask you, the Congress party files the initial complaints against the AAP in liquor scam. It goes up to the Supreme Court, that matter. Mr. Kejriwal is not allowed to sign a file even today as Chief Minister. You know this because of the strictures. Now, this party is convinced that Kejriwal has a hand in the liquor gate. And Mr. Akhilesh Yadav says the BJP is corrupt. Yet you are supporting the AAP and not the Congress. ये मुझे समझ नहीं आया. How did this happen?
See, we are not here to give any certificate of honesty to anyone. That's not our job.
So what are you here for? You are obviously giving a certificate to Kejriwal over Congress, right? Otherwise, you would have supported them both. So you have chosen. How did you make this choice? Can I understand this? So corrupt party is okay and non-corrupt party is not okay. And you are saying that is not a certificate. Then what is it, sir?
Just give me 60 seconds to reply. At least if you jump in between.
आपने बोला था कि I don't give certificates, but clearly you have certified ISO 1900 certificate you have given.
Now, let me complete now. Until unless I say
yes, sir. Please go ahead.
How can you judge something? And it was very laughable that BJP was talking about ईमानदारी, corruption, black money.
ठीक है, बीजेपी को छोड़िए, आप केजरीवाल की बात कीजिए, सर. उनमें इतने गुण क्या हैं जो राहुल जी में नहीं है? मेरी बात नहीं, राहुल गांधी जी में.
आप सर
में ऐसा क्या है?
Everybody set this stage from EC to BJP spokesman about शेरो शायरी. I want to also say 2 lines.
Okay.
इस दौर में भाजपाइयों से ईमानदारी ढूंढ रहे हो, बड़े ही नादान
देखो
हो.
viewers,
शहर
the
की
response will never
जवाब
come.
ढूंढ रहे हो.
Shairi has come, poetic license is being taken. Poetic license is being taken, but prose is purple. The prose is purple, viewers. I am not getting a response. Why has the Samajwadi Party that calls itself today the beacon of rectitude picked the AAP over Congress? The poor Congress is saying that, look, we have the evidence. We have brought the evidence to the courts. It is on the basis of us and our initial investigation that the ED has progressed in the liquor scam. But Samajwadi Party has given a clean chit to AAP. Viewers, this India alliance, I don't know. I am totally confused. I really don't even know. I have to come up with, well, whatever it is, ma'am. The point is that this alliance has boggled my mind. I began by saying don't drain Mr. Bhatti's faculties, तो मेरी faculties drain हो गई हैं in this debate. My brains are fried, but viewers, I just hope yours aren't. I hope yours aren't. Think about that. In just about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you will be casting a vote. Think about who you're going to vote for. I leave it at this. Palki Sharma up next with Vantage.
Presented by
Canada's Justin Trudeau said he would step down as Prime Minister in the coming months after nearly a decade in power, bowing to pressure as polls showed his party would be crushed in the next election. But what happens now? Trudeau said he would stay on both as Prime Minister and Liberal leader until the party picks a new one to take it into the next election. In Canada, unlike the process in other countries, party leaders are chosen by special leadership conventions that can take months to organize. The next federal election in Canada must take place before the end of October. Trudeau also announced on Monday he prorogued or suspended Parliament until March 24th. This means opposition parties who had planned to bring down his minority government as soon as they could will now have to wait until sometime in May. If all the opposition parties vote together on a non-confidence motion, the Liberals will be defeated and a new election called. If the Liberals are still in power by Parliament's scheduled summer break on June 20th, an election would be held as scheduled. The Liberals could also be brought down over the annual budget, most likely to come in April. When Trudeau took over the leadership in 2013, the contest lasted 5 months. A nightmare scenario for the Liberals is that the party takes so long to choose a new leader that Trudeau will still be in charge when the next election is called. That means it's likely the party will announce a shortened contest designed to get the next leader in office as soon as possible. Former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney, former Governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, could run to replace Trudeau alongside a number of current cabinet ministers. Polls strongly indicate that the Liberals will lose the election, no matter who the leader is. Canada's Justin Trudeau said he would step down as Prime Minister in the coming months after nearly a decade in power, bowing to pressure as polls showed his party would be crushed in the next election. But what happens now? Trudeau said he would stay on both as Prime Minister and Liberal leader until the party picks a new one to take it into the next election. In Canada, unlike the process in other countries, party leaders are chosen by special leadership conventions that can take months to organize. The next federal election in Canada must take place before the end of October. Trudeau also announced on Monday he prorogued or suspended Parliament until March 24th. This means opposition parties who had planned to bring down his minority government as soon as they could will now have to wait until sometime in May. If all the opposition parties vote together on a non-confidence motion, the Liberals will be defeated and a new election called. If the Liberals are still in power by Parliament's scheduled summer break on June 20th, an election would be held as scheduled. The Liberals could also be brought down over the annual budget, most likely to come in April. When Trudeau took over the leadership in 2013, the contest lasted 5 months. A nightmare scenario for the Liberals is that the party takes so long to choose a new leader that Trudeau will still be in charge when the next election is called. That means it's likely the party will announce a shortened contest designed to get the next leader in office as soon as possible. Former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney, former Governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, could run to replace Trudeau alongside a number of current cabinet ministers. Polls strongly indicate that the Liberals will lose the election, no matter who the leader is. Canada's Justin Trudeau said he would step down as Prime Minister in the coming months after nearly a decade in power, bowing to pressure as polls showed his party would be crushed in the next election. But what happens now? Trudeau said he would stay on both as Prime Minister and Liberal leader until the party picks a new one to take it into the next election. In Canada, unlike the process in other countries, party leaders are chosen by special leadership conventions that can take months to organize. The next federal election in Canada must take place before the end of October. Trudeau also announced on Monday he prorogued or suspended Parliament until March 24th. This means opposition parties who had planned to bring down his minority government as soon as they could will now have to wait until sometime in May. If all the opposition parties vote to
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. Justin Trudeau is out. He has stepped down as Canada's Prime Minister. We told you about this yesterday. Trump is still mocking him. Canadians are celebrating with burger discounts, and Indians are wondering if ties will finally improve. And that's what we will discuss tonight. What does Trudeau's exit mean for Canada's relationship with India? Also in focus, why Europe is telling Elon Musk to back off and how he, along with Donald Trump, seems to have mastered the politics of provocation. But are they getting tired of each other already? We'll tell you what reports say. How China has unleashed a monster ship on the Philippines. Why the US has blacklisted the maker of the game PUBG. Why Joe Biden is overactive during his notice period as president. The aftermath of the earthquake in Tibet. How Emmanuel Macron insulted Africa and how leaders have hit back. Why Singapore and Malaysia are coming together to create a business hub. Is this an attempt to counter China? Why Squid Game faces a ban in Vietnam? And are you feeding your brain right? New research proves the old saying, you are what you eat. All this and more coming up. The headlines first. Angry protests in Gilgit-Baltistan halt trade between Pakistan and China. Protesters blocked the highway connecting the two countries. The highway is part of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. The locals are angry over frequent power cuts lasting for as long as 20 hours. Gilgit-Baltistan faces some of the worst power outages in South Asia. Sri Lanka's president to travel to China next week. This comes a month ahead of Anura Kumara Dissanayike's first budget. China is the island nation's largest bilateral lender. This will be Dissanayike's second foreign trip since being elected in September 2024. His first trip was to India last month. More trouble for South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. Investigators get a new arrest warrant against him after the first one expired. Yoon remains holed up in his residence surrounded by hundreds of guards. He is under fire for declaring martial law on the 3rd of December. In India, assembly elections will be held in Delhi on the 5th of February and votes